What's good, Bills Mafia? And this is another edition of my new segment, Perception versus Reality. Today, we're going to talk about Von Miller and whether or not he's washed or dead weight. This is a comment that I've gotten a bunch of times on social media whenever I post about Von. I was one of the leaders of the Von Miller hype train here this summer. It really even dating back to last year. I think Von probably tried to come back too early from his injury last year. The Bills allowed him to try to play through that. It didn't look good. There was a ton of people that were, we got to get rid of this guy. He's dead weight. He's washed up. It didn't look great last year, but if you go back and watch, he was actually getting better as the year went on and actually played his best football into the playoffs. And that gave me some hope. And then we saw him this summer, and he looked actually very good here this summer for the Buffalo Bills. And I really like the way that he looked. And I was leading the hype train of like, hey, he's probably never going to be back to 100% Von Miller, right? He's 35 years old, almost 36 years old this year. He's probably not going to be the guy that's the Hall of Famer that we remember, but even a 75, 80% Von Miller is better than no Von Miller at all. And that's the hype train that I was leading. We saw it this summer. Even before his suspension, those first 4 weeks, we saw a really good, productive Von Miller in limited snap count. So this is something that I want to talk with you about today, that I think there's a bit of a perception that he's not playing well. And I think that it's mostly a limited snap count, and something that I've been kind of hyping up here as the Bills head into the postseason is I want to see more Von Miller. I think he's actually played very well. And I'm hoping that if they gave him an increased snap count, we would see some of the production increase as well, because the percentages are there. And this is something I'm going to break down for you here. All right. So this is something I want to talk to you about just before we get into any of the film or things like that. I want to talk to you about some of Von Miller's statistics. And one that I really like is PRP. This is from PFF. And I know I give PFF a terrible time about their grading system. I don't like their grades. I don't think they're super useful, but I really love their advanced analytics and some of their stats. And one of my favorite ones when talking about edge production is PRP. This takes into account how often a person is rushing the passer, right? So we know certain guys are rushing 200 plus times a year, and some guys are only rushing, like Von Miller so far this year, 181 times. And some of that is his suspension. Some of that is the usage that the Bills are using him. He's only at, I think, averaging 23 snaps a game. Some of these other guys that are a bit higher up in things like sack total or total pressures that you see being posted out on social media, those guys are also rushing at a lot higher percentages, 150 snaps more than Von Miller is. So PRP takes an average of QB hurries, QB hits, pressure, sacks, about how often they are rushing the passer. And I think this is a very good way to compare how productive when a person is on the field. And right now, his PRP is at 8.3. That's tied for 19th among pass rushers with 20% of snaps in pass rush snaps. And that's really good. He's tied with Danielle Hunter, who has 12 sacks, but he has 272 more snaps than Von Miller does. So again, the sacks are going to be higher for a guy that is rushing more often. But in terms of how often they're impacting the quarterback, it's tied for the same. He's also tied with Nick Herbig, and who has 6 sacks but 41 more snaps, and Bo Maffey, who has 5 sacks and 153 more snaps. He's just under Josh Sweat, who's at an 8.5 PRP. He has 8 sacks and 217 more pass rush snaps. Greg Rousseau, who I think is one of the better defensive ends in football this year, creating all kinds of havoc in both the run and pass game, he's at an 8.5 PRP, so just 0.2 ahead of Von Miller, but he has 247 more snaps and 8 sacks. Jonathan Cooper, a guy who's having a really great year, 10 sacks already, double-digit sack guy. He has 268 more snaps, and he's at an 8.6. So to me, this shows that Von Miller is really still rushing the passer at a high level. These are all high-level pass rushers, and he's even got a better PRP than Zadarius Smith, Chase Young, Kyle Van Noy, who has 9 sacks, Josh Hines-Allen, Carl Granderson, who has 8 sacks, Max Crosby, who has 8 sacks. And there's some context in this as well about how these guys are defended and what they're doing, but they all have more snaps than Von Miller does, and he is still at a productive level, at the same level as these guys. So that right there tells me Von is still rushing the passer at a high level. It's just a matter of, would he still be able to do that if he was ramping up 10 so more snaps a game? I don't know, but I am hoping to see that as they get into the postseason. Now let's look at something on the run defense side, because this is actually an area where I don't think it's talked about enough, how good Von Miller is as a run defender. And this is really one of the reasons why I would like to see more of him in this defense. I like some of the rotational ends that the Bills have, but I think Von Miller is better still at age 35, heading to age 36, than these other guys on the roster, especially when you pair him with Groot and what we saw from Ed Oliver last week against the Detroit Lions. This is a very nice defensive line, I think, if we get Von Miller some more snaps. So another good stat that they run here is run stop percentage. Again, this isn't a volume stat, it's a percentage stat of how often they're on the field doing this. So Von Miller only has 49 run snaps. That's 137th out of all qualifying defensive ends in the NFL. And in that, he is at an 8.2 stop percentage. And just to give you some reference, Greg Rousseau, one of the really better run defenders that we see, is at 8.5 stop percentage on 230 snaps. TJ Watt's at 8.2. He's got 279 snaps. Khalil Mack, which I think is a comparable person in terms of age and pass productivity, he's at a 7.9. So Von's ahead of him. And that's at 193 snaps. Alex Highsmith, 7.8 on 135 snaps. And Jared Verse, maybe rookie of the year at defensive end, is at a 7.7 on 282 snaps. Now, all these guys grade out a little bit better than Von, I think, for the most part, in terms of PFF grades. But again, I don't care about grades. It's all about production. And still, at an 8.2 stop percentage for only 49 snaps on the year, Von is still playing run defense at a really good rate. And so I want to go through some clips. These are all clips post Von's suspension. I actually think he was playing some of his best football early in those first 4 weeks, but I wanted to look at what has he done recently here post suspension. What's he been doing? I'm going to show you guys some clips of both run and pass snaps that I think show that Von still has a lot of production left, and hopefully something that we'll see more into the postseason when the Bills really need it. All right, on this first one here, we are in the Indy game. This is week 10. This is right when he comes back from his suspension. And we're in the first quarter. This is 9 minutes left. And this is a play I think a lot of fans will remember. This is the Austin Johnson intercepting a screen pass. But really, this play was made by Von Miller. So if we take a look here, this is Von off on the edge, and you see him win his one-on-one. And this is something I want to point out. This long arm that he has is probably, in my opinion, his best pass rush move. It is really allowing him to create space. He doesn't have the explosion that he used to, but he still gets here. Look at this. He impacts Joe Flacco, gets to him, and this is just a bad ball by Joe Flacco right to Austin Johnson here. And this is a play Von Miller makes. This is early in the game, and this really flips the script against the Indianapolis Colts and gives the Bills a chance to go out ahead. Great play by Von Miller right to start this game, coming back from his suspension. All right, this one here is the second quarter, minute 24 left. You're looking at a 3rd and 1. This is a really nice play here. And this is where, again, we talk about him as a pass rusher, and that's still his most important role on this team. But I want to show you this one here. This is good run defense. This is Von Miller washing down the line. Look at this run defense here. Him and Greg Rousseau are in on this. Ed Oliver, who's gotten a lot of flack this year, also had a pretty good game here, stopping the run on Jonathan Taylor. A lot was made about this team getting run over on Jonathan Taylor. Really was 1 or 2 big runs in this game. This is Von Miller just having a really nice rep, winning his rep, and getting a no gain on the 3rd and 1, getting the Bills the ball back here in this situation. Absolutely awesome stuff. Great rep by Von. Again, hoping to see more of that if he is able to play some more snaps. One here is a 3rd and 12. This is the third quarter. There's 13 minutes left in the third quarter. Again, a 3rd and 12. And this is Von just getting pressure and causing this play, causing the ball to come out early, getting pressure on Joe Flacco, winning. Look at that long arm here. Let's bring that back a second. This is what I'm saying, man. This is his best pass rush move, in my opinion, right now. He comes off the ball. He's wide. I mean, just look at this. Slow it down here. Just puts the offensive lineman on his butt. This is stuff in the film room that they're loving. This is a 36-year-old. He's still got juice, guys. I think that his pass rushing ability is there. He gets Joe Flacco off his spot, allows Quentin Jefferson to come up. Look at all this pressure. Finishes off the play as well. Gets a hit on Flacco. It goes for 4 yards. The Bills are able to get the ball back here. That long arm serious, guys. I'm telling you, that's his best move. It's back. All right, now let's go to week 11 against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is where Von Miller's got to earn his money, right? This is what we want to see against Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, the best teams in football. You want to see him getting pressure, specifically on 3rd down. I got 2 third down for you that I want to show you. I think Von had huge impact in this game, and this is why the Bills brought him in. This first one's in the first quarter, 9 minutes and 17 seconds left. This is a 3rd and 5. This is actually a really great play also by Terrell Bernard here. But Von forces the issue on this rep. You see him lined up out here wide. He forces the issue. He gets some pressure. Nice little move here. Gets Patrick Mahomes off his spot. Terrell Bernard comes up from his QB spy spot, gets the sack. This gets the ball back. This is a 3rd and 5, 6-0 Bills. This is a loss of 6 yards. And again, not anything crazy. He doesn't win the rep right away, but it's just not stopping, getting Patrick Mahomes off his spot. This is complementary with coverage on the back end. They did a really good job on this. There was a bunch set. Taron Johnson, Damar Hamlin did a great job, but Von Miller and Terrell Bernard here cleaning it up, getting the sack. This is what you pay Von Miller for. All right, this is later in the second quarter, about 10 minutes left. This is a 3rd and 10. And Greg Rousseau actually wins this rep, gets Patrick Mahomes off his spot. But this is exactly why you pay Von Miller, right? You want third down plays against Patrick Mahomes, getting sacks. He still hangs in this play. He and Ed Oliver get the sack, get the Bills the ball back. This is a 3rd and 10 again. The Bills are up in this game 13-7 at this point, and this is a pivotal spot in the game. Greg Rousseau with a great pass rush here moves Patrick Mahomes off his spot. Greg, and we're not going to disqualify cleanup sacks as anything. Even if Vaughn is only getting 20 snaps a game, if he's doing this type of stuff and getting guys like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, the better quarterbacks in the playoffs off the field, that's huge win. That's not dead weight. That is not a player that is descending necessarily. This is what you're paying him to do. All right, now let's move over to the Week 14 San Francisco 49ers game. Honestly, I don't have a ton from this one, just this one clip here where he creates some pressure. Great win, gets Purdy off his spot. But look at this chase down by Groot. And I want to know the next gen stats on how fast Groot was moving here. But I think a lot of people accuse Vaughn of over rushing and going too deep in the pocket. But you get a quarterback off their spot, that causes him to get out of the pocket. That causes the disruption that leads to this sack. Again, not something that necessarily shows up on the box score. And I think fans will see not much from Vaughn on this game in the box score. But this is a big spot here. This is a 3rd and 9. And then Groot cleans up the sack for a negative 5-yard loss. And I think this play is actually made by Von Miller. And obviously Groot gets it. And it's a fantastic play from Groot. I'm not trying to take anything away from him here, but I'm just showing you winning your rep matters. Pressures matter. It does impact the play. Von here with a big impact on a 3rd down. Again, even if it's only 20 snaps and he's making a big play on 3rd downs, that is why you're paying a guy like Von Miller to be on your roster. All right, let's move over to this Week 15 Rams game. Again, this was a frustrating one for the defense as a whole, giving up a lot of points, but I talked about it. I don't know that the game was as bad. I mean, Matt Stafford was crazy good in this game, and a lot of the pressures and good plays that Vaughn made actually went kind of unnoticed because of how good Matt Stafford was. So let's check out this one right here. This is a 3rd and 9. This is first quarter, 12 minutes left. He gets the pressure here, and Matt Stafford just makes a great play, and they get a completion. I don't know how much else you can do, but this is a win by Von Miller here. Look at that long arm again, gets Matt Stafford off his spot. Matt Stafford was doing this all night long, where he just steps out of the pressure. You can see pressure really impact Matt Stafford at times. This game, it was not, but this is a win by Von Miller. And if you're in the film room with the team, yeah, the play doesn't go away. The result of the play is not good, but that doesn't mean individually he didn't win his rep. And this is a great sign to see if you're a Bills fan, him winning one-on-ones against good. This is a team captain in Havenstein, and he had him all game. And not only did he have him in this game, he had him probably offsides 3 or 4 times trying to get that extra step on Von Miller. And you saw it early in this game. Again, this is the first quarter, first drive of the game. Again, the results aren't great for the play, but the result for Von Miller is great. This long arm, guys, I just love watching him just boom. Got him. Just a great play by Stafford, wide open. And this turns into an explosive play, and this is one that we forget. Again, a lot of these are pass rush snaps, but this is a great run fit by Von Miller. He comes right down the line again. I think this is where he is really needed for this Bills team, especially going into the playoffs. This is he and Daquan Jones here. This is a 1st and 10, second quarter, 8 minutes left, and just a really nice play by really the defensive line as a whole. And again, I think a lot of people thought this defensive line gave up too much on the ground. I saw a lot of really good run reps from them, including Von Miller here. Obviously, it's not super impressive he beats a tight end here, but that's, hey, if you're going to put a tight end on Von Miller in the run game, he's going to win, and he's going to get there into the backfield and win this rep. All right, this one is later in the second quarter, about 3 minutes left, 1st and 7. This is a really nice play here. This is, again, a nice play by the entire defensive line, but Von Miller comes down off the edge here and makes a great play for a 1-yard loss. Look at this. Fighting 2-3 guys here, nowhere to go. The whole defense here. Damar Hamlin makes a nice play in on this. Terrell Bernard's in on it. Really nice play by the defense. Unfortunately, does not last. They do get scored on here, but Von Miller showing strength. There's a number of these reps on tape where it's 2, 3 guys trying to get a hat on him, and he's just blown right through him, bull rushing him, and making some nice stops. All right, now we're into the third quarter, 2 minutes left. Rams are up 31-21. This is probably what was so frustrating about this Rams game, to be honest with you guys. Again, Von Miller with a nice rep here, gets pressure. Matt Stafford just avoiding it, wins here. Oh, Matt Stafford just creeps up in the pocket, makes a 21-yard play. This is a 3rd and 6. This happened to the Bills all day against the Rams. But I do want to highlight that, just because the results aren't good, just because the defense as a whole gives it up, doesn't mean Von Miller's not out there doing his job. He makes Matthew Stafford uncomfortable, makes him step up in the pocket, and Matt Stafford just makes a great play. This has again happened against the Rams the whole time. I think a lot of guys had good games against the Rams. The team as a whole didn't, and the Rams just played better in this one. But Von Miller showing as we get here late into the season that he's still got some of these moves. Look at him, just gets the long arm, gets around the edge. Actually, this could have been a holding here on Havenstein. He had a tough game dealing with Vaughn. I think he slowed this down here. Man, that looks like a hold to me, guys. I don't know. I think he probably missed this one on a 3rd and 6. That changes everything. A play like that, if that goes backwards, who knows if they're able to pick it up. But bummer, it didn't go that way. The refs missed a ton in this game. But again, a good rep by Vaughn. Again, run plays aren't super sexy for everybody, but I do want to highlight he's been a good run defender. This is the fourth quarter, 7 minutes left. This is a 1st and 10. Look at that. Just comes right down. No chance. This is a loss of, or this is a stuff for no gain on a 1st and 10. Rams are up 38-35 at this point. Bills are trying to make a comeback, need a stop. This is how you stop them. I think they're trying to gain some yards here, right, on 1st down and get themselves into a manageable. Vaughn, Bernard come in, make a big stop. Love this play. All right, this is the final one from this Rams game. This one I wanted to point out too because this jet sweep was killing the Bills until late in the game. AJ Epinesa had a stop, and then Vaughn gets one here. This is a 2nd and 10, fourth quarter, 6 minutes left. Rams are up 38-35. Bills are trying to make a comeback, trying to get a stop, and this jet sweep killed them all game long. Vaughn wins his block out in open field against Havenstein and just comes up, makes a really nice tackle. All right, now we're on to the Lions game here last week. And actually, I think this is one of Vaughn's best games over the last couple of years. He's up against Penny Sewell a lot in this one. And Penny Sewell is one of the best offensive linemen in football. And Vaughn, they put a lot of help. There was a lot of double teams, a lot of chipping that they put in on Vaughn. And he was still able to be impactful in this one. All right, this is second quarter, 4 minutes and 29 seconds left. This is a 3rd and 10. This one's super frustrating because one, watching Jared Goff run for a 1st down's infuriating. And this is what kind of happened in the Rams game to the Bills, right? Look at this. He's dead to rights. No, he gets out. Look at this is the slowest 1st down in the history of football. But again, Vaughn here taking on a double. Look at this. He comes in, bull rushes, boom, 2 guys still fighting through it. Man, that's good pressure right there. Again, gets Goff off his spot. You don't expect Jared Goff to run for a 1st down on a 3rd and 10, but the Bills got pressure. Had him dead to rights right here. This was 3 or 4 times in this game. They got to finish. That's probably the biggest thing about the Bills pass rush is finishing these plays changes the game entirely. All right, this one here, let's pull this one up. This is a 3rd and 7, third quarter, 12 minutes left. Bills are up 28-14. And this is honestly, again, Bills only had 4 stops, I think, in this game, 4 or 5 stops total in this game. This was a big one for them. And this was a full effort unit by the entire defensive line here. I think everybody's in on the sack. Look at, first of all, let's give Ed Oliver his love here, just running over. Oh, that's big boy football, guys. But everybody wins their rep on this one, and Vaughn's part of that and creating pressure. If it wasn't Ed Oliver just running over the center here, I think Vaughn's also in on this, making a move. This is 3 or 4 guys in on the sack. Absolutely love to see it. Against a really, again, the Detroit Lions had a lot of issues on defense, but this is a healthy offensive line, one of the best offensive lines in football. This is a great sign to see if you're a Bills fan who's been frustrated with the defensive line. 3rd and 7, this is where you want it. I don't need them to be great on every single down, but I need them to be great on the money downs. All right, this is the last one I've got for you. This is the fourth quarter, 44 seconds left. They're trying to drive. Again, I covered this in the last video. The perception of how close this game was, not totally there, but and the perception that the Bills went soft and weren't getting after it, also probably not true here. Vaughn comes in, gets chipped, wins his rep, gets Jared Goff just a little bit. Again, pressure matters. Goff doesn't want to fire this ball here. You can see him uncomfortable. Vaughn gets in on him. You can see him get a little uncomfortable with that pressure. Didn't like it. I think Vaughn even got a hand on it, maybe, causes the incompletion. This is a 3rd and 10, goes to a 4th and 10. Unfortunately, after this play, we saw the hook and ladder play that converted on a 4th and 10. This is a big spot, though. Again, game of inches. If he gets this sack or even forcing it into a 4th and 10, takes time off the clock. It puts them in a bad position. The win probability is at 95% here. But Vaughn with a nice win against Penei Sewell, get Jared Goff uncomfortable, and he throws a bad ball on a 3rd and 10 to a wide open receiver or a wide open tight end. Again, you make your money on 3rd down, even if he's not necessarily getting all the pass rush snaps that we want to see. If he's only getting 20 snaps per game, this is what you want to see out of Von Miller, guys. A lot of these plays that I showed you were 3rd and 5, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. That's where the Bills are using him right now. But I'm advocating, I really think, among some other things, I think they need to play a little bit more man defense. I'd like to see a little bit higher blitz rate, continue the stunts that we saw against the Detroit Lions. I'd like to see some of that. But also, I think they need to have Von Miller out on the field a little bit more. Maybe it's not over these next 3 weeks against the Patriots, Jets, Patriots, but as they get into the playoffs, if he's healthy, I don't know how they feel about him being able to handle a higher snap count, but he's productive against the run. Again, early in the video, I talked about his run stuff percentage, right up there with Greg Rousseau, who we love. And then he's still productive against the pass. We saw him a number of really good, high quality offensive linemen. And I think he's getting better here in that as the year goes on. And the thing with pass rushers, too, is he's doing this again on a limited snap count. He doesn't have the reps necessarily to be setting these guys up for some of the traditional Von Miller moves that we saw, which is part of pass rush, right? Is you set them up as the game goes on, and then you take advantage of them on a 3rd and down. So I'm hoping part of the plan is for more Von Miller as we go into the future. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Am I way off? Am I glazing him here, as the kids like to say in my mentions, or is there more juice left for Von Miller as they head into the playoffs? And do you also think the Buffalo Bills' plan is to unleash some more things on the defensive side of the ball in terms of both schematically and how they're going to run it, but maybe also in personnel and getting a guy like Vaughn and saving him for these moments? Let me know in the comments section. As always, if you made it to this point in the video, absolutely appreciate you. If you're not a Cover One Pass member, head over to Cover One, join One Pass. We have a great community over there. I appreciate each and every one of you. Even if you want to disagree with me in the comments, I absolutely appreciate you spending time to check out our content. Go Bills, and happy holidays, guys.